Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the Chester County Marketing Group On-Air Show. This is a bi-weekly webcast presented by me, Carla Wilson, owner of Wilson Media Services, and also by my colleague.
Hi, Jeff Tincher, owner of 610 Digital Marketing.
On each of our episodes, we'd like to share with you some insights, our tips and tricks, secrets, maybe trends that we're noticing in the marketing industry. In fact, today's episode is the trends and predictions that we are making for 2015. Today's presentation is based on an in-person presentation that we made to our Chester County Marketing Group networking group about 2 weeks ago. So we thought it would be helpful for those folks that couldn't make it to the meeting to do a Hangout on Air. I wanted to remind everyone that we use Google Plus Hangouts on Air to produce this show. This means it's also live streaming at our website and also on YouTube. If when you are watching on YouTube you want to click on the little yellow graphic at the bottom of the video player, what that will do is navigate you over to our event page where there is a Q&A panel where you can interact with us, ask questions. Even if you're not able to watch the show live, even if you're watching this after the fact, please feel free to ask questions of us or comment. We love questions from our viewers and our audience, and hope that you will find today's information helpful. So, Jeff, why don't you kick off the presentation for us?
Yes, muting the phone there. So I'll just share my screen here so we have it. Yeah, exactly, smart, right?
Yep.
So we're here. As Carla said, we gave this presentation a week or two ago to a group of people. And we really were going over the trends that at the time were, going to be for digital marketing, online marketing, in the terms of mobile, video, like podcasting, social media, SEO. And we'll kick off this here with why mobile. It's the big trend that, it's been there for a couple of years and it's continually going to move that way. And why do people want to use mobile and be making sure your website's friendly? Well, there's some tools out there to help you understand if your website is currently geared to being displayed correctly on mobile devices, i.e. iPhones, Android phones, such like that. Which mobile designs may work best for some websites, and then again, Google has coming out with, in the past month, something called a mobile-friendly tag that's going to be on the search engine result pages. So we want to take mobile seriously here, as we always do in the past as well, but we really want to focus on understanding what your current mobile traffic is. You want to avoid any software that's not common on a mobile device, like Flash, too much JavaScript, too much motion and movement. We want to make sure the buttons are, the next one is make sure it's readable without needing to zoom, which is your pinch and pull when you're scrolling on a website. You don't want to have that type of function with your website. If it's on a mobile device, it becomes too small. People have to zoom in. Again, number 4 is right along the same lines of zooming in, and that is you want to fit the content to the screen so you don't have to zoom or scroll. It becomes kind of an annoyance. A lot of people you'll see if you're driving traffic to your website and they're coming at a mobile device, you're using Google Analytics, you might see that it has a higher bounce rate, which is when people come and land on that page and then leave immediately. You may see bounce rates of 80, 85, 90% versus a desktop, it could be 50 or 60. You're going to then say, my site is just not ready for the mobile players that are out there. And leave enough space between links because people's fingers are all different sizes and they might be hitting multiple links when it comes to that. They call it the fat finger thing.
Fat fingers.
Yeah. So this is really a statistical slide here that says why you want to be serious when it comes to mobile marketing. Is 93% of the people, they use mobile devices to do research when they're looking for a product or a service. And 65 of those online searches, they were going to begin on a mobile device, and then what they do is sometimes they'll continue over onto a desktop. But of those 65% of the people that begin with searching on a mobile device for a phone number, for directions, for services about a company, it says there's only 16% of those websites are really geared to being mobile friendly. So it's a lot of people to be pushing to mobile websites that won't have the ability to really turn them into customers or whatnot. So there is a tool out there for those people who are running the websites called Google. It's called Google Webmaster Tools, and it does a lot more than just checking to see if you have mobile-friendly tools. It's really a great search engine SEO tool as well. It gets your sitemap.xml file online, but this one we're talking about here is for mobile-friendly tools, and they have a usability report that's going to go through and say, you type in your URL, it'll come back and give you a score, much like the score over on the right, 43 out of 100 for your mobile device. A lot of it is reducing your server time, reducing JavaScript, optimizing images. So it gives you a ballpark score of what may need to be improved to help bring your website to a better mobile optimized solution. So once again, if you go to google.com/webmasters, you can sign in with your Google account. You will need to link up your websites to that, but you can then go in and choose this mobile usability tool. That's going to be great when it comes to that. And let me just back up. So mobile designs, we briefly touched on. There's a couple designs out there for websites currently. There's responsive, there's dynamic, and there's one that's a separate URL. Responsive is everything, from a WordPress site that's going to come down, and what happens is the websites reformat and structure to fit the device that they're displaying on. It was really big, in the past couple of years. It's still there. People are seeing that responsive is great because we don't know what kind of devices are out there and what people are using. And in terms, we want to make sure we have the best website presence and user experience that we can when it comes to driving people to the website from all different devices. Dynamic is where you have a website with the same URL, but you're then using code that's on that page to say, I need you to go pull this CSS file for the style sheet to render it this way for a Android device, this way for an iPhone, this way for a desktop, and so on. And then a separate URL would be if someone's coming in, has a different HTML code and URLs. The server, the web server that's running, is what determines the device and then sends a user to a separate URL. It might be page for iPhones.com, something. Again, there's a tool here, and we have this slideshow available. What we'll do is we can link to, we have it on SlideShare, Carla. So what we'll do is we'll put it into like show notes or something that's on the actual event page that we can link right over to that SlideShare.
Absolutely.
Because the next one is developers.google.com/webmasters/mobile sites. That's going to go through. It's a great starting place and package for really understanding what Google's mind and other search engine minds as well, but it's Google centric, is to make your site most mobile friendly. Okay.
Awesome.
So we'll skip ahead. This is the last thing that I was going to talk about from a mobile standpoint, was these mobile labels in the Google's in the SERPs, the search engine result pages. And as you can see here, if your site is designated as mobile friendly by checking those tests and passing through there, Google will now start showing on mobile devices in the search results page this mobile friendly label. And over here, this other website doesn't have it. And you can see that the website on the right is the site that you would have to do the pinch and pull, the zooming in, the scrolling to really understand, because the font is so small. There's so many links on that sidebar, where when it comes to a responsive site like the one on the left, the menu is going to shrink into the format of the device. This, of course, is a a vertical site, portrait area, and then if you flipped your phone sideways with more of a landscape view, the menu is going to expand to fill up that spot. So that's where the responsive part comes involved. Okay, so I am going to take this little time here. We're going to turn it over to our podcast pro, Carla, and she was going to talk about podcasting and video, and then we'll be back with a little bit more.
Yeah, can you advance the slide for me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna, Jeff, since you're in charge of the slides. Yeah, there's really no surprise that I'm going to tell you that podcasting will be huge. You will see in what are called the showcase links for this page. Off to the right, we have one of them. NPR is actually calling 2015 the year of the podcast. I think that is due mostly to a series they released this past fall called Serial. It is a story told week by week over the course of 12 weeks. It was addicting, for a lack of a better description. So if you have not listened to the Serial podcast, it's Serial. When you go into iTunes, into the iTunes store, under podcasts, I'm certain that Serial Podcast will be one of the top 10 podcasts listed there for you to subscribe to. What was interesting that I found with this particular podcast was that was the only medium that they released that content. There was no associated radio show with that. There was no, they did actually have their own separate web page, but only by podcast. So there were no radio shows dedicated to this. So it was very interesting for me as a podcast producer to see where this was going. And again, podcasting will be huge. Next slide, please. Huge. Really huge. So yeah, here are some reasons why I think there is a rise in listenership for podcasts and why I believe it's important for businesses to be considering podcasting as part of their marketing strategy for 2015. As I mentioned, Serial. There's another awesome new podcast called Startup, also coincidentally started by a former NPR employee named Alice Bloomberg. It's a fantastic podcast. But another reason for that podcasting has really increased in popularity is it's so easy to listen to now. Before you had to download it to your computer and then download it to your MP3 device. Now you can download it directly to your iPod or your smartphone. You can even listen to podcasts in your car. What's nice about podcasting is it's on demand. You know, Jeff and I don't really get too concerned that people can't find our show on Thursdays at 2 o'clock because we know that this show is basically on demand when we're done broadcasting. It's the same thing with podcasting. You know, there's a typical radio show, maybe This American Life, that happens every Saturday at noon. I don't always remember that. That's why I listen to the podcast of the show, which I adore. And I think a lot of people can listen to podcasts unlike watching videos. You know, you can listen to podcasts while you're driving or while you're commuting, exercising, or you're running errands. I think it's a very flexible medium. For some more reasons that I think podcasting is on the rise is that for content creators, it's much easier to produce than video. It takes less equipment. Typically, you don't have to worry about kind of the visual side of the equation. You don't have to worry about a camera. And, you know, so many of my clients are intimidated by being on camera anyway. So this is really our first step into digital media, typically, is creating some type of podcast. And also another thing that I'm learning is that story is really important to a business brand, and the best way to convey a story is with audio, surprisingly. It's a very, I took a class this fall called Power Your Podcast with Storytelling, and it was hosted by the host of the Startup podcast, Alex Bloomberg, and he said that podcasting is a very visual medium because when you are listening, those words are creating an indelible image in your mind, making it very visual. And I have to agree, you know, think about it. When you're reading a book or when someone's telling you a story, you're kind of making a mental image going along with the story. So that's, again, one of the reasons I believe that podcasting is important for this year. Can we advance the slide, please?
Yipper.
Thank you. So Edison Research, just obviously that's their business, conducted what they called a share of ear study in 2014. I'm not going to go over that link right now, but I put that link there for you to take a look. They surveyed 2,096 Americans age 13 and over to make an audio diary of everything they listened to for a day. can you switch to the next slide, please? And what they found was about 5% of people listen to podcasts. So actually, this is that 5% of people extracted from the whole survey. So this kind of gives you a quick overview of that survey. But here are some of the numbers. So of that 5%, that equates to 39 million Americans listen to a podcast each month. They are listening to an average, those podcast listeners are listening to an average of 6 podcasts each week for an average of 5.75 hours per day. So look at those numbers. It probably means they're not watching a lot of TV or watching video. They're listening. Right now, here's some other interesting tidbits. Right now, there are over 250,000 podcasts on the iTunes directory, and I believe it was May of 2014, iTunes surpassed 1 billion subscriptions of their application. So again, just more details for you to really consider putting podcast into your arsenal of marketing efforts. Can we go to the next slide? So again, I'm not going to play this for you, but I included this in the I included that slide in the deck for you, so you could go and check it out. Edison Research put together a 5-minute webinar that explains their whole survey. I think it's really helpful. We also want to talk about video today. I definitely don't want you to forget about video for your marketing in 2015. I did, as Jeff did, we both did some research in preparing for this presentation. One of them was a link on the Social Media Examiner website that they interviewed basically 28 gurus and said what's going to happen in 2015, and many of the headlines included the word video in them. Can you advance the slide, please? Thanks. The reason video marketing is increasing is people are realizing that Facebook reach is dropping. We've been discussing this for about a year and a half, and it's really, Jeff will cover some statistics for you shortly. Facebook reach is really dropping, and that for that reason, businesses are leaving Facebook altogether. It's now much easier to produce videos, including, for instance, Google Plus Hangouts on Air, which is what we use, using your smartphone to create a video, or you can live stream directly from your smartphone to your Facebook page using an app called Hangwith. So there's lots of ways for you to make quick video. So again, I'm going to go back and mention this Social Media Examiner blog post. They said that this year, which I found interesting, was that SlideShare will become the YouTube for Business this year. So I think that says something to, if you have a small business, remember to start posting your slide decks out on SlideShare, because that's where a lot of folks are doing some searching for information. So here is an action item that I am proposing for you. Isn't that funny that I use the word propose? I would like you to take a slide deck. I would like you to record a voiceover audio that would accompany that slide deck. And if you marry those two files together, you can create a video. Notice that I didn't say turn on a camera and record yourself. I said take a slide deck that you already have, record audio to accompany it, and put those two together to create a video. That's one of the first video strategies that I present to people who may be intimidated by video. I think it's a fabulous way to still build rapport and share your expertise with your potential audience.
Okay, well that was great. So now we're going to switch over to the fourth trend here. We're talking about 5, and this is going to be search engine marketing that's out there, and starting with SEO, search engine optimization. So really the basics of this of SEO is not going to change starting in 2015. It's like it's not going to just jump and be a totally different thing. Which means there's on-page, which is what you are saying about yourself, and there's off-page SEO, which is when you're building links or putting links out into other areas, or if people are talking about you. So it is about what others are saying about you, and both of those still are going to be very important when it comes to the basics of SEO. Mobile, as I spoke about earlier, is still very, very important. you have to get your site mobile friendly. I mean, you saw that Google is now putting out mobile friendly labels on the search engine result pages. That's one main reason. The next is you don't want to lose people when you bring them from a mobile device to your website. Also, along the terms of the labeling of mobile-friendly sites, some are saying that don't expect your non-mobile friendly site to rank as well for other sites that do have the label. So again, make sure we're getting out there to get those websites as mobile friendly as possible. And small business SEO still with the local, so we're going to need to continue to optimize for a local area, making sure that the address on the website is the same on the website as well as on the local directories like Yelp, City Search, Hot Frog. There's a bunch of other different what they call local directories that build citations, which are non-linked or non-clickable links that talk about your business or your business in a city, and the NAP, which is the name, address, phone. You want that again to be on every page of your website, preferably at the top of the page, especially if you're on a mobile device, to have that contact us, that phone number up at the top, because that'll be the first thing people see on a mobile, and they're really going to probably be more apt to call you at that point. Switch here to SEO again, as businesses are going to optimize their existing content over really writing new content. And that doesn't mean they're going to stop writing and content marketing, but what we're going to do is going to go back and redo some of their old evergreen content, which means the stuff that they wrote a year ago, 2 years ago. If it's still viable and bringing in traffic, it's going to be great to go back, make sure that any changes to SEO in terms of on page has been brought up on those blog posts. Are your images labeled correctly? Maybe refreshing the page or create some internal links from blog post or page to another, so you can build those internal links as well, which are some highly valuable stuff. You want to be successful in your organic search rankings, so you're going to understand your analytics and metrics, like your click-through rate, your calls to action. In this case, the CTA is a call to action. Your bounce rate, which I briefly described before, is when someone hits your web page, looks at the page, and leaves right away. And time on page, that's very valuable. All these metrics are found in Google Analytics, is what I work with mainly. There's other analytic packages out there as well, but Google is, it's free for businesses and collects all the data and traffic and metrics that you would need. Now back to the call to action. That's going to be, if you're driving people to your website, what I'm going to give you a little hint here is make sure you have a call to action on every page if possible, much like call me now with your phone number, or fill out this contact form to get a white paper, or download this product, or this paper, or this ebook, or click here right now to save 10% on my product. Those are your call to actions, and that's what you're going to be driving people to your website to do. So you have to give them something to get them to purchase. So those are those little CTAs that are going to be out there that are going to be helpful when it comes to that. Because a lot of the websites and search engines are starting to really take into effect those metrics, like the click-through rate from a search results to the page. How long are people staying on the website? Is the content on a website related to the search result, and therefore I am going to rank you higher in the search engine results pages. Mm-hmm. And as Carla was saying, optimizing your video and use of video and audio is great. So when you're putting a video on a blog post, you're going to want to also wrap around that video as best the content of what we're talking about in there. Display advertising, that's the banner ads. Even it's also remarketing for search ads, which they'll throw up a search advertisement that's out there. So search and display ads continue to grow. We're going to see a trend moving to a lot more when it comes to remarketing advertising, which is when people visit your website, they leave without completing that desired action, like in the graphic here, they didn't buy a soccer ball from you. Later, while they're looking at ESPN.com or the Weather Channel or something else, or if even Facebook, it's a different concept of remarketing. It's Facebook's remarketing versus Google's or other search engine remarketing. They'll see your ad, they may click back through that and then purchase the ball. So this is the remarketing aspect of display advertising and it is going to be the biggest trend of a display, and more businesses out there, large-scale retail, even small businesses can use this on a cost per click or even a CPM, which is a cost per thousand impressions type view. So the last thing we're talking here, and Carla did hint at that before about the video and why people are going to be using video over things, is social media as we've known it, particularly Facebook as we've known it. Well, their free cab ride is over for that most part. That since 2012, a page's posts were only seen by about 16% of that page's fan base. You know, in 2 years' time, it dropped from 16% to 6% of those people were engaged, and even lower for large brand pages that had over 500,000 people. Just last month, we're now approaching the 0 mark, and it's actually 0.073% of a Facebook's fan base will see their posts, every post that they're putting out there. So what that means, your organic reach is just totally going down, and the engagement level is going down. So people aren't clicking like as much. They're not sharing. They're not commenting. And the way to keep that going for organic is we need to get people to comment, like, and share those Facebook posts. But right now we already have such a low reach that we're going to need to be advertising a lot more and using the Facebook ads. It is a low-cost solution versus like a regular search platform for advertising. It is like I said, a lower cost, and it's viable. And it will go on to the news feed, or it can go on to the sidebar, right-hand sidebar of Facebook. Some other trends Carla spoke about was that audio and video are going to dominate social content, specifically Instagram from a pure visual use in social media. Businesses and marketeers are using that to drive tremendous amount of awareness around products, around the culture of businesses, around many things, and those networks are also seeing more and more what they call micro video, which is the 7 to 15 second type video that are on sites like Vine or Instagram. Social is going to become a actual core pillar of content marketing. It's not just going to be about writing the content. It's going to be social media is my vehicle to distribute and share all of the blog content you're putting out there, all the video content. If you have a podcast, you can use social media to drive up your listenership and such like that. Social media and the business-to-business market. LinkedIn is going to finally surpass Facebook as a #1 network for B2B. If you would have asked me that, I would have thought it would have been LinkedIn already, but it was so darn close that Facebook currently has 89% of business-to-business users, and LinkedIn is at the 88% mark. That's going to take a big swing soon. I can definitely agree with what the experts and stuff are saying around that. And Google Plus, everyone thinks it's dead. It's not dead yet in its sense that it is there. It is so wrapped into all things Google that it drives. I was just reading another article earlier today that it connects, of course, to Hangouts. It connects to your YouTube. If you have a mobile device that has the Google Now app on there, and you're searching for restaurants in the area, and then all of a sudden you start driving into, like, let's say Philadelphia, it can pop up and say, hey, there's this restaurant right down the road that you were looking for a French restaurant, and here's a French restaurant in Philadelphia because you're there. It starts to know what's going on and starts to lead you into those informations of that. So the Google Plus, having that account, is powerful. Now, is the network platform going to stay around? We don't know. We don't even know if Facebook will. And everybody says Facebook's going away, Google Plus is going away. It's still there. It's going to evolve. It's going to go up and down. So really, the last couple slides here that we talked about was really the digital. What is the digital future? And it's this gigantic graph of all these things that people want to become. You can't just be compartmentalized where you know one thing. You really have to know a lot of different technologies because they all do interact with one another. Does your email marketing system interact with your social media? Does your blog, when you do that, does it send out updates via your MailChimp or your Constant Contact and then post on all your social channels? How is your SEO apps relating to your content marketing and your search and social advertising? So there's all these things. This chart or whatever that little small thing you're probably seeing on your screen is filled with 1,876 different vendors across 43 different digital technology categories. So really, becoming a digital technologist is the way of the future, and marketers of the future are going to need to understand how software and technology works, or else they could be left behind, because people are going to be doing that. The millennials, my kids who are younger are going to be, they know this stuff from the get-go. They're going to know how to connect everything, program things, and it's just going to be that way going forward. So Carla and I laugh about it, but it is. I mean, it's scary stuff. So. So that pretty much concludes our review and overview of what we gave just the past week. Carla, so we're going to be talking about a couple different topics as the weeks and months go on here. I know we had one discussion we were talking about some tools and some apps that are out there to help really digital marketing or freelance professionals out there on their day-to-day jobs, keeping efficiencies, Evernote, different tools like that we're going to talk about. And I know we want to take a lot of steps back from just this overall and talk more focused on the video and the podcasting, and then talking about local SEO for a lot of the small mom and pop brick and mortar type shops. So hopefully everybody can listen back and hear a lot of what we're doing. And
excellent. Jeff, I do want to remind everybody that if you are in the Chester County, Pennsylvania area, our next in-person meeting will be on Thursday, February 19th. And did we settle on the venue for that meeting?
Yeah, it's going to be at the Liberty Union.
At Liberty Union.
Grill in Chester Springs. Okay,
fantastic. So if you are interested, please go to our website, excuse me, at chescomarketing.com. If you go to chescomarketing.com/on-air, you can see an archive of all our shows, including this one. But at our website, there's also a way for you to sign up for our newsletter to be reminded when we have our events. So I want to remind you to, if you aren't already, please follow us on social media, and be sure to comment in the Q&A panel if you have questions or comments. We love questions from the audience. We never want to turn those down. So we appreciate you watching, and we will see you on our next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.